Okay, beautiful souls. Let's dive into today. So today's conversation is about what you want versus what you believe. That's good. Good to see that you're all having a really great week as well. That's so cool. So what you want versus what you believe. Oh, so good. So time and time again, I see so many people unconsciously getting sucked into what it is that they believe rather than focusing the energy on what it is that they actually want. Right. And when it comes to the foundations of this work, a key component really seems to be missing. So we're going to dive deep into that and we're going to extract this key component, which I think is going to make such a big difference for you and your creations. And you see, for the most part, as a daily practice, you're all doing really great, being consistent and stepping into your visions with your true choices. Perhaps before that, you're checking into your identity, ensuring that you're connected into your higher self, into your genius before you connect into your visualizations. And you're taking the action. Right? So you're visualizing, you're taking the action, but wondering why things still seem like they just aren't moving the way that you want them to. Is anyone in that phase at the moment? You're like, you know what? I know what it is that I'm going for. I'm taking the action, but it's just not moving the way that I really want it to. Let me know in the chat box if that's you. And maybe you're listening to this as a replay. Just tune in and be like, yeah, is that me at the moment? You see, there's a really vital part that is likely missing that you haven't consciously considered, right? And, as I say, time and time again, I just see so many people getting they're unconsciously getting sucked into what they believe instead of putting the power into what they want. It's me holding me back, Wayne says. And we talk about being attached to your vision. We talk about how loud the ego can be. So it's like, here's my desired reality. Here's my vision. Here's what I'm going for. And when I go for that, my ego gets loud. It can be really, really loud. So we talk about that a lot in Conscious Creator Academy. But what we don't do is put the emphasis on what do you actually want? What do you actually want? This is where the energy and focus can drop, right? Because you see, on one hand, there's what we believe, and on the other hand is what it is that we want. You can have what it is that you want, or you can have what it is that you believe. It's one or the other. And both of these create very, very different realities and experiences. And let me know if you agree on that. Do you agree with that? You can have what you want, or you can have what you believe, and both of these create very different realities and experiences. Yeah, of course, 100%. 100%. And what seems to be sneaking in, mostly unconsciously, is what you believe. Because when you go for what you want, the ego always has a problem with it. Always. It's always going to have a problem with it. When you go for what you want, the ego is always going to have a problem with it. And when it does, when the ego does have a problem with it, then there's a potential for the power to go to what you believe. The power goes to your ego and your negative beliefs. And when you orientate by belief, your behaviors, your actions don't hold the magic. Right? They don't hold the magic. When you're in that, you're not in a creative state. So if you pause and consider this personally, like, what outcome does it create for you? When you're orientated by your belief and your behavior and your actions don't hold the magic, because you're not holding the power, are you? Like the power is in your belief. because then you behave in a particular way and you take action in a particular way. So if you just pause for you personally and just think of where you are now, what outcomes does this create for you? And is it what you want? What outcomes are these beliefs creating for you right now? And is it what you want? So give yourself a moment. Just tune in. Think of your current reality. Think of perhaps some beliefs that are coming up for you. Think of the behavior. Think of what your behavior has been like. Think of what your actions have been like. And of course not, right? When I ask you, is this what you want? Of course not. Of course not. You're not creating the outcome that you want, are you? You see, yeah, the ego creates it for me, not what I truly want, 100%. You see, this is how we create. You ensure that you're in the creative orientation, right? You visualize your choices and then you let the belief creep in. Maybe it's not immediate. Maybe it's so subtle you don't even notice it, but over time, the belief shows up and it starts taking the power, and you believe that your vision might not happen. Right? So these beliefs come up. You believe that perhaps your vision might not happen. It's too big. I don't know how I'm going to create it. The negative beliefs that you have about yourself and your capabilities of creating the outcome that you want, they're coming up. Doubt creeps in, self-sabotage. You have negative expectations around the action that you take. You're like, oh, I'm going to take the action, but it's probably not going to work out for me, that it's going to be hard, that you're not allowed to be successful, you're not allowed to be ambitious, a belief that, you'll be judged or challenged, or there's going to be a negative outcome. And, that the other things are more powerful than you, and then you're run by your beliefs. You run by your beliefs, and then you know what else? You make them matter. You give them the power and you make those beliefs matter. You consider it current reality, what it is that you want. We always have a current reality. A current reality is always going to exist, right? And then you have what it is that you want. You can call it your vision. You can call it your desired reality. You can call it your goals. You can call it whatever you want. But we have a current reality, what it is that you want, and then the beliefs sit in the middle. And I want to tell you something. The truth. The thing is, what you believe doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can believe something and know that it's not true. But you don't need to identify with it. That a belief comes up and you be like, yeah, this belief has actually come up, but I know that it's not true. Or maybe you even think that it's kind of partially true. It doesn't actually matter how you connect into that belief, because you have the choice, right? You have the choice. You don't need to identify with it. And this is where people get sucked in and stuck, because they start identifying with their beliefs. And it may be conscious and it may be unconscious. And here's the important thing, is that you have to allow yourself to fully want the thing that you choose that you want. Like, let yourself want it. Let yourself choose it. Let yourself desire it. Put the power into what you want and make that the truth. Make that the truth for you, rather than putting the power into your belief and making that the truth. When you stand for what it is that you want, when you put all your focus, the power, the energy into what it is that you want, your belief will always become irrelevant. No matter how big or strong the belief seems to be, the want is always going to trump the belief every single time. The want is going to trump the belief every single time. I'm repeating that because I want that to really land for you. And can you see it for yourself right now? How the belief has been creeping in, and it's keeping you stuck, and it's keeping you limited, and it's keeping you off course from your vision, from your fullest potential, from your elevated life that you're choosing to create. You know that you want it. You know that it's your truth. And yet the belief is just sucking you into what it is that you actually don't want. So this is why I think this conversation is just so powerful, to look at what you want versus what you believe, because I do hear it a lot. Well, I have to believe it first in order to create it. No, you actually don't. You actually don't. You simply choose what it is that you want, and you let go of the belief holding the power. And you might be thinking, yeah, but Rochelle, I already do this. Like, I focus on what it is that I want. I do my choices. I'm very connected into visualizing what it is that I want. And that might be the case. Maybe you're doing that consistently. Maybe, you're doing that and you're taking the action. But I said earlier on that there's a missing link, and I haven't added that missing link yet. So we talked about you must focus on what you want, but the missing link is how you want it to be. Because here's what happens. You go for what it is that you want, and then what it is that you believe comes up, and then that's where it stays. But if you consider, what is it that I want? What is it that I believe? How do I want it to be? And when we condition our consciousness in that, what did I say before? That want is going to trump belief every single time. This is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. And when we are conditioning our consciousness to that, then what is going to happen? That's what it's going to be looking out for. That's what is wanted, and that's how it's wanted to be. Not this is how I want it to be. It's not like it's not like what you think is actually possible based on where you are now, or based on what you've created up until this point. It's like, no, this is what I want. I want my coaching business to be a particular way. I want my life to be a particular way. I want my finances to be a particular way. I want my relationships. Like, when you consider all aspects of your life, this is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. You are the masterful creator of your life. Let's actually put that hat on and be the masterful creator. Not just, okay, this is what I choose, and let's just see in the power of the universe if it just comes up and slaps me in the face and it can, just be there. No, this is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. And it might not be that it always comes to shows up in that way of how you want it to be. But I tell you what, you have higher chances of it than going for what it is that you want and then letting what you believe sneak in. because it does. It sneaks in and we don't even always know. But I tell you, a good indicator is the best indication of whether we're in our beliefs or not is the outcomes that we're creating. Like, what's our behavior? When you tune in and you look at your behavior recently, are you going all in? Are you showing up in an identity that is connected to your highest way of being, that is whole, that is complete, that is not holding on to anything of not being good enough, not worthy, not perfect, don't belong, not significant, like all of that? Like, how are you showing up? That's a very clear indicator of whether your energy is going into what you believe or just what it is that you want and how you want it to be. So let me know in the chat box, what's landing with you so far? What's really resonating? What's an aha moment? What are you taking away from this? And as you're typing in, we're going to be diving into belief can be changed. And I mean, like, and it's even irrelevant, right? Actually, belief is irrelevant. I think of it in this way, even. It is so irrelevant. I think of going to the gym and, when you're with a personal trainer and you've talked about the outcomes that you want, perhaps physically in your body, and so that they're the experts. So you've decided what you want. You decided, how you want it to be, and you can also decide in the exercise that you do how you want it to be. Because you're like, oh my God, this is going to be hard and whatever. Bring up all the beliefs. I can't do what it is that they've said. They tell me I need to do six reps of this at this particular weight, but I really don't think that I can. And so when you put your focus in that belief, are you really going to give it your all? Well, no, because you're like, oh, I can't. However, it's completely irrelevant because you can actually, and I've done this myself when I've been with a PT and they're like, right, let's up the weights. I'm like, holy shit, really? Oh, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, let me just give it a crack. And then I surprised myself because I thought that I couldn't do it, but in actual fact I could. So it's completely even it's not even entertaining what it is that we believe. It's just this is what I want. This is the outcome that I'm going for. And this is, how I want it to be. What if your belief is that you can achieve the thing? Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Of course, of course, that's great that we have the parts of us that believe that we can achieve it. But this is more about the beliefs that hold us back. So it's what you want and how you want it to be. And it's just irrelevant whether you believe it or not. Like, whether you believe it or not is kind of it's kind of irrelevant because you're just putting your focus in to what it is you want and what it is that you want and how you want it to be. Love the question. Love the question. All right, so we're going to, you don't have to believe it first. That's what's landing. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we're going to do a little bit of circle work. We're going to jump into deep relaxation. We're going to connect into our genius circle. And then we are going to step into 3 circles. One is, and so this is, we're going to do this as an overall view relative to you living a life that you love, that kind of connects you into all of your choices. Okay. So the first circle is going to be what you want. So you might draw the circle and write in it what I want. So it's relative to you living a life that you love, what I want. The second circle is what I believe. And this is coming from your ego. So your ego has a problem with what it is that you want. And it's going to try and find all the evidence and all the proof of why you can't have it, because it just wants to know how it is, right? And it thinks that it knows how it is relative to past experiences, the ego. So what I want, what I believe, two separate circles. And the third circle is, how do I want it to be? And how do I want it to be is, how do I want it to be relative to what it is that I want? And this is all connected into the choice of you living a life that you love. And you can absolutely, at any other point, do it on another choice if you like. Or you can choose to do another choice if you really want to. But I think it's nice just to do an overall view of living a life that you love. Are we ready? Let me know in the chat box. Are you ready to immerse yourself in what it is that you want, what it is that you believe, and how do you want it to be? Yep, love it. Yes, so good. Okay, cool. Ready. Good. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes and let's set the intention to have this serve us at the greatest of good. Going through this process. And as a reminder, we're going to be diving into the overall view of you living a life that you love, that connects you to all of your choices. Firstly, let's get ourselves into a state of deep relaxation. So I'm sure all of you have already done this technique to condition your consciousness. So now that you have, all you need to do is say in your mind or out loud, unconscious, deep relaxation. Let's take 3 big deep breaths, breathing in and out. And again, breathing in and out. One more time, breathing in and out. That's it. Keeping your eyes closed and just visualize. The first circle that we're going to immerse ourselves in is our greatness and genius circle. So go ahead and visualize the circle. I like to visualize that it's a golden circle, and this holds all the energy, all the insight, everything there, all the information of you being in your greatness and genius. And just find yourself in this circle as we define this circle as you in your greatness and genius. Connecting into all the ways that you know it to be true, that you're whole, you're complete. This is the you that is fully aligned with your highest visions, your fullest potential. This is the you that is willing to take the obvious action, the big moving the needle forward action. This is the you that is happy and fulfilled and satisfied. This is the you that is going for what it is that truly sits in your heart. You're the fullest expression of yourself. The you that knows that you're whole, you're complete, you are enough as you are right in this moment in time. You are worthy of creating what it is that you desire. You are capable of creating everything that's in your vision and your true choices. The you that shows up unapologetically as yourself, that holds integrity with who you are, that speaks your truth. The you that is unattached to approval or validation. The you that holds the power within you, that doesn't mind being judged by others. You don't even care. The you that is in total love with yourself, that creates magic, that's masterfully creating the life that you love. And go ahead and put a smile on your face and knowing this is your truth. You're connected into your own intuition, freely sharing your innate wisdom and knowledge. Connected to your heart, creating so much magic in your life and in others. And now that we're connected into our highest way of being, you can keep your eyes closed and just visualize stepping into the first circle of this process today. And this circle is what it is that you want relative to the overall view of living a life that you love, that's connected to all of your choices. And let yourself be in the circle. Let all the information, the energy, just let everything come out, what it is that you want. And you can write it down, like, as it comes, open your eyes, write it down, come back, close your eyes, connecting into what it is that you want. And just unpack it all. What does it look like for you? What are you experiencing? Who are you showing up as? What are you creating? What is it that you truly want that sits in your heart? Maybe it's a high-level coaching business. Maybe it's traveling first class. Maybe it's to have a deeply connected relationship. What is it that you want? Maybe you want to create big impact and be a global speaker. Maybe you want to write a whole ton of books. Write it down as it comes. Be clear. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Just remembering to consider all aspects of life. Your health, your wealth, your relationships, your true nature and purpose choices, travel if it's true for you, just all of it, the things that you love to do just for fun. And maybe even as you're writing some of this down, you have those parts of you that are like, yeah, nah. Your beliefs already creeping in, like, you can't create that. That's way too big. How are you gonna get there based on the past? You're not capable, you're not that significant, you're not perfect enough for that. So come together, closing your eyes, and let's just take a big deep breath, breathing in and out. And I invite you to find yourself in the circle that you defined as what you believe. Your ego has a problem with what you want. So the beliefs that come up, that your ego is telling you why you can't have what it is that you want. What are those parts of you? What are those beliefs? Maybe it is, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, I'm not strong enough. I'm like, whatever those beliefs are, just tune in, get the information from the circle, whatever comes, and write that down. All those parts of you that believe that you can't have what you want and why you can't have what it is that you want. And it's interesting, isn't it? Like what's coming up, maybe some of it's like super obvious for you. But what are all the ways that your ego has a problem with what it is that you want? Maybe you believe that you can't break your self-sabotaging patterns. Maybe there's a belief that it's not safe to be seen, to be heard. Maybe the belief is that you'll fuck it up or you'll fail. Maybe you believe that you always have to work hard in order to get what it is that you want, or you need to change who you are in order to get what you want. Maybe you believe you need to fix yourself. Maybe you believe that, those parts of you believe that it's just a fantasy. Like I want that, but it's not attainable. I can't create that. I can't have that. Maybe the beliefs are that, it's for others. That's not my role. Like it's easier for others. They can have the success. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. And it's okay because you might be thinking, oh, well, I don't really believe that, so I'm not going to write it down. But we have inner conflict. So there's parts of us that believe things and parts of us that don't. Okay. So you just want to unpack the ego's negative beliefs. All right. So I would love for you to go ahead, close your eyes, take a nice big deep breath, breathing in and out. Let's connect into this other circle. When you consider what it is that you want and everything that you unpacked in that circle of what it is that you want, how do you want it to be? Not what you think is possible based on where you are now or what you've created up until this point, but how do you want it to be? Here's what I want, and here's how I want it to be. Considering positive expectations, considering how you want it to come about, like just be in that circle, define yourself in that circle, and just notice how you want it to be. And try your best to extract things outside of, or I just want it to be easy and I just want it all to come to me with ease and flow. I mean, absolutely that can be in there. But how do you want it to be? Maybe you want it to be fun and playful and adventurous. Maybe you want it to be like in good flow. Maybe you want it to be that the coaching or things that you're doing, people just they're magnetized to you. That doesn't mean to say you don't take the action, by the way. But how do you want it to be? If you were just to set a positive expectation, this is what I want and this is how I want it to be, let it all unfold. It might be that the way you want it to be is like opportunities just come your way. Like you're in so much momentum. You are just taking the action. You're so unattached to anything other than going for what it is that you want. And all the possibilities and all the doors just open up and you want it, that there's just so much there and available for you. It's almost too hard to choose which are the things that you want to do because it's all just there laid out for you. And it's okay if you are finding it a little bit of a struggle to answer this. This is why we use the circle work, right? So circle work helps us to kind of just connect into the field as opposed to coming from logic so much. So one, it can just be in the practice of getting used to circle work. Two, it is actually really great if you think about it. It's like, oh, if I need to build my muscle on just opening up to how I want it to be, this is so much more room for so much more great things in your life, because this is the missing piece, right? You know what it is that you want. Your beliefs come up, and you may not consciously know that those beliefs even exist, right? The egoic agenda that it even exists. But that's what generally holds the power. So if you're like, okay, well, I'm going for what it is that I want, and I'm really going to work on like how I want it to be. Like, this is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. Oh, this is where you hold the power. This is where you really become a masterful creator, because you're taking out the BS, the belief system, right? You're taking out the bullshit, because current reality, what it is that you want, and then you anchor that in with how you want it to be. I mean, you can see it, right? You can see it in what you've unpacked. What's really landed for you when you look at that, when you've written down what it is that you want, the problems that your ego has with it, how that gets caught up in your belief, and then how you want it to be. And it's not how you want it to be. You're not fixing your beliefs. We're not even putting any energy into them. We're literally just dropping them. We're literally bypassing these beliefs that sit in between your current reality and desired reality. We're bypassing, we're not giving them any attention, any energy, any focus. It's like, yeah, you might be here. You can exist. I'm not going to try and fight you. I'm going to allow you to be there. All good. No worries. Interesting that those beliefs come up. Interesting that that's how, I have been behaving, or the actions that I've been taking, how I've been orientating. But let me just not put my focus. Let me just drop it and weigh in on what it is that I want and how I want it to be. I guarantee you absolute magic is going to happen. Your life will absolutely change if you can do this. Not if you can do it. You can do it. Of course you can do it. Let me choose better words. If you choose it, if you choose it, this is what I want. This is how I want it to be. And then let my behavior be in that same vibration. Let me show up as the powerful creator that I know that I am. Okay, how do I want it to be? I want to stay in my power. I want to be taking that aligned action. This is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. So fill me in the chat box. I really would love to get some feedback. What's really landed for you? What have you noticed in unpacking those circles? Maybe it's just actually what you've noticed of where you are right now in your current reality. But fill me in. It's so powerful, isn't it? And it really, when you consider where you're putting the power, you're going to create different outcomes. The process sounds simple. That was in capitals. It sounds simple. It's interesting, isn't it? Because even in what you've written, don't give the BS any attention. Even in that, who are you showing up in an identity when you write there? It sounds simple, but it sounds simple, but it's not that simple. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is that a powerful statement? What identity are we showing up in when we are kind of tuning in? It's like, yeah, it does sound simple, and you can choose for it to be simple. And it comes down to how often we are building those parts of us. Refer back going to the gym. When you first start going to the gym, you might have a particular set of weights that you start with, and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to shift from that to these way higher weights? That's I mean, it sounds simple, but that's going to be hard. But it's like, well, no. How about you just do the reps that you can and focus on that? And then as you're going, then you build on it. So it's the same with anything that we do. Yeah, your statement sounds big to me. It did a wee bit. It did a wee bit, Molly. But again, this is where we get so conditioned, sometimes we don't even see it. It wasn't meant to be. I know that wasn't your intention for it to be. What I want, what I believe was easy, but how I want it to be, I'm struggling. Well, I love that. I love that you're struggling. I don't love the struggle side, but I love that there's so much potential for growth because you can work on how do I want it to be. Don't overthink it, by the way. This is good. Intention does not equal impact. What do I want? How do I want it to be when we weigh in on that? Masterful creation right there. Masterfully creating. Remember that want trumps belief every time. And when you really engage in what it is that you want, your belief will always just become irrelevant because it no longer holds the power. You do. You hold the power, and then you harness that power and that energy and you put it into what you want and how you want it to be. Belief does not need to be a factor with you. Believe you can or you can't. There's that saying, and you can look at it at many different ways. If I don't even know the exact words, so it's like, if you believe that you can't, you're right, or whatever. But it's about where you put the power. If you put the power in that you can't, then you won't. You perhaps, your behavior is that you won't do it. It's not to say that you can't do it. Just because you believe you can't doesn't mean to say that you can't. So, my friends, was that a good masterclass? Did you get some value out of that today? I sure hope you did. I sure hope you did. In the chat box, it looks like you did. And I see a few nods, so that is sure did. Awesome. I love that. Yes. Thanks, Roche. You're welcome, Sasha. Very helpful today. Good. Good, good, good. What you want versus what you believe. Very, very helpful. So much. Good. So what is your choice with that? Where are you choosing to weigh in on your focus? What it is that you believe or what it is that you want? Of course it is what it is that you want. So let's hold that intention, hey? Have that, write it down, put a sticky notes on a few places in your house just to remind you that is your focus. What is it that I want? How is it that I want it to be? Have that positive expectation. And hold that positive expectation, even if what's happening right now is not showing what it is that you want. It's not giving you the proof that you think that you need in order to create that outcome. Hold it. This is what I want, and this is how I want it to be. Current reality might not be telling me that that's what I'm getting back right now. That's okay. Let me not engage in the beliefs that are then arising because of that. Let me just keep on holding on to what is it that I want? How do I want it to be? And you can use this process that we've just done with specific choices. Okay? Your true choices, your goals, like anything. And you might be surprised at the things that actually come up when you do that circle work. All right, my friends, have the most incredible rest of your week. Happy Thursday or Wednesday. or of course, whatever day it is, because you might be listening to the replay, but choose to hold your power, harness that power and energy, and focus on what it is that you want. Just keep that clear. And it's very strong. Our behavior is the highest form of communication to our consciousness. So how you show up and who you be is everything relative to what it is that you create. So hold that focus, staying in your highest state of being, because you are enough. You are complete. You have everything already inside of you to create what it is that you desire. And even if you think, oh, I don't know about that, Rochelle. Oh, what's that? That's your belief creeping in. You can still create things, and it can be other people coming in and helping you with it. It's about the end result and the outcome that you want. Love you all. I will see you on Lenses next week. Ensure that you reach out. If you need any support with anything, reach out to my team, email, whatever. And yeah, see you when I see you next. Bye.